Good morning, everybody. It is Friday morning, 9 o'clock. I'm Jane Monreal, and you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+. We have a busy morning today. Want to start with the latest on a house fire. We brought this to you as breaking news on WCNC+ earlier this morning. Bringing the latest picture here right now in the Dilworth area, where crews responding to a very large house fire in the 1600 block of Lombardy Circle. This is near Freedom Park. It appears that the fire is out, but you can see that the street is still blocked off. This originally was called in around 6:20 this morning, and a single-story residence fully involved fire, as you can see here from earlier this morning. This is neighbor's cell phone video capturing the flames. You can see it's just raging there with fire crews arriving on scene. So as far as the structural damage, it seems that they could not conduct a primary search of the residence, is what Charlotte Fire put out earlier. But one person from a nearby home was evacuated on scene, did not have to be evacuated, did not have to be transported by medic. But there was a second alarm around 6:30 that was called in, so that means just more crews and the intensity of this fire. As you can see, neighbors there gathering outside of this house. A gas leak was also reported, so as they gain control of the situation, again, you can see that it was pretty much a full blaze earlier this morning, just about not even 3 hours ago. So just moments ago, though, Charlotte Fire Battalion Chief John Lipsack spoke to WCNC Charlotte. Richard Devane is there, but we did grab what he had to say. This is a quick interview with the battalion chief here on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Charlotte Fire Communications started receiving calls of a fire on Lombardy Circle this morning, approximately 6:16. Within 2 minutes, first units arrived from Charlotte Fire, declared a working fire. Approximately an hour to an hour and 10 minutes later, the fire was brought under control. We can confirm there was one injury in a nearby structure. That person was evaluated on scene and released by medic. There was no other injuries at this time to report. The fire is under investigation and it remains a very active scene at this time. Fire Communications did receive reports of explosions, and like I said, it's a very active scene. All those calls and everything will be under investigation. At this time, we were able to secure a patent water supply and extinguish the fire. Charlotte Fire trains on a daily basis for any type of problems that can occur. We don't train for everything to be perfect, so we were able to establish a water supply and extinguish the fire. Approximately an hour to an hour and 10 minutes to get the fire under control. Approximately 60 firefighters were brought to the scene it was a second alarm fire. Yes, it affected one of the exposure structures, and that fire was placed under control very quickly by units.
And those are the latest details from the scene with Battalion Chief of Charlotte Fire Department, Chief Battalion there, John T. Lipsack. Richard Devane also spoke to at least one neighbor about the fire, what she witnessed. Let's play you that here on WCNC+.
It was about 6:14 in the morning, and we heard a big explosion, and we didn't know what was happening, so we walked outside and we see all the smoke, so we drive over here and the house is in flames. So it looks like it was for sale, so yeah, I don't know if anyone was in there, but the house next door kind of got whiff of the flames, and I think the people were outside, so that's all we know so far.
What was going through your mind when did you hear it?
It was scary. We thought someone was in our house because it was so loud, and we walked outside.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It shook the house?
Yeah, the noise shook our house. We live a couple streets over and we heard it.
We live right across the Greenway, so not too far from us, but it was loud.
It was loud?
Yeah.
Okay, the firefighters came. Is it out, or what's the situation now?
Yeah, they got there quick and they're responding to it. They got the water going, so looks like they're making progress.
I have never heard an explosion like that, and I've never seen a house engulfed in flames like that before. Like it was, seemed like instantly. Yeah, we're literally in our pajamas.
Yeah. But you can laugh a little bit because no one was in there apparently, right?
Yeah, everyone seems safe.
Everyone seems safe.
Yep.
All the
It was
neighbors
for
were out, so
sale.
everyone was together. Yeah.
Yeah, good point there. No one hurt in that house fire, but a scare for sure for neighbors as we gathered there. Appreciate that interview from Richard Devane. Want to take you out to a live picture right now of an erupting volcano. This is live on the Big Island of Hawaii. Kilauea volcano erupting. We're getting more details here, but this is, you can see, wow. Another one fire to another fire. This obviously just spewing out lava and flames and in the thousands of degrees heat there of the eruption. So we're going to see what we can gather.
I'm kind of learning and looking at some reports online. It
Great.
seems like this has been kind of an ongoing little thing in episodes over a couple weeks. Some of these episodes last like 12 hours, and then some of them last days is what I'm reading, just certain reports from some news outlets on the Big Island or around the Big Island. Look at those, like, it's kind of crazy to me. It doesn't look, it looks like from a movie.
It is. It's a beautiful shot.
It's a beautiful shot.
From afar. But yeah, when you get up there and, you know, I always kind of kid with my husband when we talk about going to vacation and, you know, or watching videos and people walking on volcanoes and it's like, that thing can erupt in any time. I mean, it can be asleep for 1,000 years.
And then all of a sudden, it's spewing lava 300 feet in the air. Have you ever been near a volcano or anything like that?
No. Well, I mean, I've been to Hawaii, but not, when they're dormant. I've been to the Philippines, and it had just erupted.
Oh, wow.
But this is from, and we saw the smoke, and I think some domestic flights were impacted at the time. This is back in 2009. But it was one of those situations where I'm ways away from it. So I wouldn't live near a volcano, though.
It's terrifying.
It is. It is terrifying. But as we look at this picture, it is one of those sights to behold.
Right.
A beautiful screensaver if you can grab it.
If you can grab it and loop it. It is a nice screensaver.
Oh, okay. Let's take you back out here to the Live Impact News studio. We are getting ready. Today is the day 1 of 3 for the Love and Life Music Fest. It's an exciting time and a lot to know because even if you're not going to the Music Fest, I mean, there are so many musicians, not even rock stars, just musicians, major artists coming into town like Gwen Stefani, Dan Matthews Band. There is a lot to know regarding traffic, closures. So our Nick Sturdivant talked to Bob Serkin, who is also part of the entertainment production company, Southern Entertainment, that is bringing Love and Life Music Fest to Charlotte. And they talked everything about the fest. So here's some more information if you didn't gather with us yesterday afternoon on the stream. We're going to play that interview for you now here on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
It's going to be a busy time in Uptown. And to break it all down, we have Bob Durkin here, co-founder of Southern Entertainment. His team is bringing Love and Life Festival, Music Festival back for a second time. Bob, I guess my first question, it was so successful last year. How do you top last year?
Well, I think, like you said, last year was great. I think we've got a even stronger lineup with Dave Matthews and Gwen Stefani, who's just an American icon. From now she's on The Voice to she's reinvented herself so many times, from No Doubt now to her duets with her husband Blake, and then of course Benson Boone, who's was the darling of Coachella, and they've nicknamed our little festival here Boonechella, because I think we're going to get to see his patented jump off the piano. So, like you said, it's culture, it's community, it's fun, it's family, it's great food, and some of the best music in the world.
And Bob, so one of the artists that I'm looking forward to hearing about, I'm still trying to make my way there. Out of full transparency, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Now we got a young producer in here who does not know who DJ Jazzy Jeff is. and look, I've heard great things about his set. Who are you looking forward to seeing? I know you mentioned Benson Boone, Gwen Stefani. They're performing Friday night, but who are you looking forward to?
So me personally, I mean, that Benson Boone show, I've watched the videos. I can't wait to see it in person because I just love that energy and how crazy it is. But my personal taste, number one, is Pitbull. His shows are energy from one in note from the beginning to the end. And then on Friday at 5 o'clock is Third Eye Blind, and that just brings me back to so many great memories. So I think that's going to really be a big part of the show. And then we have the new artist Alex Warren, who's closing the stage on Sunday. And his song is just viral, and the way women are reacting to this love song is great. If you haven't heard Alex Warren, you will. So I'd check it out. And then on Saturday, I will be front and center for Ludacris because his songs are amazing. He brings so much energy, films, music. He's just an unbelievable talent, and we're so lucky and excited to have him here.
As a music nerd that I am, like I love how you have different generations, right? Like you have like a Big X Plug rapper out of Dallas, and then you have somebody like Ludacris, right? Who late '90s, early 2000s, mainly the early 2000s. To see those different generations come together, man, what is that like?
So, the last few years, it's been amazing the transition music has made. Everything that they fed us on the radio is what we grew up with. But now you can go find your favorite music, Spotify, online, social. So it's amazing. My kids are 14 and 19, and through TikTok, Instagram, they've been exposed to Pitbull, been exposed to, we had Stevie Nicks last year. So it's great to see the young generation really appreciate the Gwen Stefani and the Dave Matthews. So you'd think they wouldn't know, but a lot of the younger people know it. So that's what's great about it. I think is, music brings those generations together. And then also, like you said, we have some of the parents bringing their kids. Their kids want to see Benson Boone. Mom wants to see Gwen Stefani. Kids want to see Teddy Swims. Mom wants to see Dave Matthews. So there's a great, dichotomy there. And I've seen, families who posted last year who kids are running around. And then just like you said, in general, if you're a music nerd, we got all types for you. And I would definitely recommend checking out the local stage in First Ward Park, which is sponsored by Ascent, the women's soccer team this year. And that is going to be bands each day from the local and regional area. And we have such a big platform now, bringing these national artists in. We want to be able to help use that so the local artists could garner some more fans and expose their music to the crowd. And just as important, to the fans who come to Love and Life, so they can expose to new music and music that's local and regional here. So, could mean something to them. So we love helping foster music in the community. And I think that's one big thing that people should go check out.
What did you guys learn from last year? The inaugural festival last year, and how are you guys applying with the lessons learned from last year to this year?
So what's great about Charlotte is they're the best when it comes to large events. We've worked in a lot of cities around the country, and there's no better city than Charlotte in this public-private partnership to provide security, medical, fire. And the police are top notch. So we recapped right after last year, and I think all reports it was a tremendous success. It was a very safe event, but there's a few things that can be tweaked. So we've been working with them all year long to make sure best practices come into place. And then when it comes to some of the setup, people were really happy last year with no lines to get in, no lines for the bathroom, get a drink, get food easy. And so we're hoping to grow on that. We've changed a few things with the layout, but only really to help the ease of getting around. So we took a lot of the recommendations from some of the, people coming here, people that are experts at this. And I think we've tweaked a few things to make the experience even better. So we're excited about that. But I think our sponsors have added some activation. The local artists have built one of our lineup T-shirts. They built the Instagrammable big heart that you can take your picture in front of. So we just try to incorporate even more of the local flavor. Public safety number one. Make sure all of that's best practices, and we're putting on the safest, most fun event. But then we've leaned into some of these great Charlotte things. Last year we brought Mr. K's back, and that was a huge hit. People hadn't had his burgers or ice cream in forever. And George from there, who was a staple if you grew up here on South Boulevard, the brand, and so bringing it back really put Charlotte, best foot forward. And this year we're bringing back Vic the Chili Man. He was on Tryon Street for 20 years selling his chili dogs. And so if you grew up in Charlotte or you work downtown, you know him. And so we're excited we can bring him back. And so if you've never had it or you miss it, definitely stop by First Ward Park and pick up a chili dog.
And does it get tricky at all? Because on one end, you want to keep folks safe because we are, looking at potential thunderstorms on Saturday. But also on the other end, Kendrick Lamar and SZA are going to be at Bank of America Stadium, also in Uptown. Does it get tricky at all planning events? And obviously, you can't predict the weather so far out in advance, or what other shows are coming in town this weekend that you're planning for.
Yeah, having another show at the stadium's not ideal, obviously. We'd like to have, and hopefully we can work on that in the future to make sure that the schedules do match up, because, we could move a couple dates here or there, and they do too. So hopefully some more communication. We can avoid that in the future. But when it comes to the rain and safety, like I said, that's leaning into our public safety plan, our communication with the app. And this time of year, those things are called for. But, Brad and some of the great weathermen in town have told me that the chances are very low, and that we're looking at a majority of sunshine and a great weekend. So we have a plan in place in case something happens, but we're looking forward to some great weather, great fun.
My last question, Bob, before I get you out of here. I know you mentioned this earlier in the interview. What should folks keep in mind? If this is their first year going out there, what are some things they need to keep in mind before they go out there to the venue?
So, if it's your first year, make sure you have the app. You can build your schedule on it. It gives you all the information, the bag policy, the closest place to get in, the times, all that basic stuff. But then also that's our communication tool all year long, all weekend long. I mean, we'll be able to put stuff on social media, but if you have the app, the push notifications will tell you the highlights of what's going on in the show. If there's anything when it comes to weather, we'll push through that. So I would recommend everyone getting the app, but also plan on your transportation. Last year, the light rail was really huge for bringing people in, and so we've leaned into that this year, a more frequent stops, and it's going to run even later. So CATS are the best group, transportation wise we've ever worked with, and so they're really helped. And so if you plan on taking the light rail, I think that's the best idea. Then we also up on College Street have Uber and Lyft spots. So I would recommend Uber, Lyft, or the light rail, and get the app, and just come with your festival in mind, dress up for the theme nights, and just come ready to have a great time and celebrate with your neighbors in Charlotte, and listen to some of the best music, and expect some really cool special surprises.
Bob Durkin, Southern Entertainment. Bob, thank you for your time. And Bob, man, you got the newsroom buzzing right now. A lot of folks, when the initial announcement came out, a lot of folks in the newsroom were excited. So I know a lot of folks in the city are excited for the show.
Great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the support.
By the way, we're going to have Chris Mulcahy to talk about your Love and Life weather forecast this weekend, because rain is expected. So as you have all that fun and take your time heading to Uptown, you might want to bring the poncho as well. I love that he was looking forward to Pitbull, 50-plus artists there, and he picks Mr. 305. He's Mr. Worldwide. Mr. Worldwide comes to Charlotte. All right. We're going to stay on this fun train and talk about travel, because after all, it is May, and that means most people are starting to think about their summer getaways. I know spring break is over, but thinking ahead, and with some of these economic uncertainties in the headlines, many travelers, of course, are wondering if their vacation dream needs are going to have to be put on hold. Good news today, we are joined by travel expert Katie Nastro from Going, and Katie has some fresh insights of some of the most affordable travel in recent years. Katie, thanks for joining us this morning live here on Live Impact News.
Thanks so much for having me, Jane.
What is the good word there on the street from Going?
Yeah, look, this is a very interesting summer when it comes to travel. On one hand, we have geopolitical tensions and uncertainty with the economy that's really feeling a pinch for a lot of people. And they're wondering, is it really in my budget to take a vacation this summer? However, on the flip side, because of that economic uncertainty and because we've seen softer demand, so less people looking to book at present, we've seen some really incredible deals that are still available for peak dates across the summer. So think end of July well into August. For example, you can go from Charlotte to LA for only $199 round trip. That's not on a budget carrier, that's on a full service airline. Or out to Chicago for $185, Or if you had your sights on a bigger trip for the summer, we're seeing really great fares to Europe, specifically to Dublin, 519 across dates in August from Charlotte round trip, as well as Amsterdam, 551, and Paris, which is at a lot of on a lot of bucket lists, I should say, for only 570 round trip. And again, those prices are in peak dates across the summer. And those types of prices round trip, we typically find in shoulder season, so right about now, as well as, in the fall, and then sometimes in low seasons. We don't typically find those types of prices at, around 50% off in the middle of summer. So if you had any desire to travel, we really recommend taking advantage of what we're seeing.
That sounds amazing, and it's like a dream if you can pull it off. You mentioned those international deals, right? What is the reason for some of them being, really abundant, disproportionately so, and again, the regions where people can look forward to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And look, because of not only economic uncertainty at home, but abroad, we're seeing actually less inbound international arrivals. And so there's less people on those flights coming over from specifically Europe, as well as Canada and Mexico. And that's really having an impact on how many seats that airlines are able to fill, and to entice people to try to help fill that gap. They really are discounting for specific areas. So if you have had any of those areas on your bucket list, really, again, this is the time to be taking advantage of the fact that airlines have to be discounting.
And okay, I mean, that sounds really great. So you kind of have to be open, though, if you might have a chance is that your best advice, to just sort of stay flexible?
Yeah, I think, flexibility is always going to be your best friend, especially when it comes to summer travel. But I think what people, yes, while there is a lot of availability still, we don't want people waiting until the last minute to decide and then come to find, oh, wait, actually prices have shot up quite a bit. As well as, if you can target August, according to our going data, that's the month that we typically find across the 3 months in summer to be the most affordable, specifically the last 2 weeks in August. Kids are going back to school, you have less families traveling in general. So that would really be the biggest tip that we can impart on anyone. Try to travel in August, most specifically at the end of August, as well as set up flight alerts. Some people have already booked their trips. Take advantage of the fact that if that flight does drop, you get a notification, say in the Going app or elsewhere, call the airline, rebook, and get a credit to use for the future. So you're saving overall. Just make sure you don't book a basic economy ticket. That's the most inflexible ticket type. You can't make changes without an extra fee, etc. So just make sure that you're booking a main economy and keeping those flight alerts on even after the fact so you can save.
I was going to say, Katie, about booking a ticket in your seat. This might be a good time for some people, if they wanted to splurge a little bit, they might be able to get a premium seat. What is your advice if people wanted to try to, go the extra mile?
Yeah, some people are looking to trade up this summer because we are seeing, again, a lot of availability. And it's likely that as we tend to go further out, we might see availability open up a bit more so in terms of loyalty. So if you've had points and miles that you've been sort of sitting on, this could be the summer to really take advantage of them, because there should be more availability. As well as if you are looking to prioritize a more premium seat, again, we're looking at more availability as people trade down. So you might be able to get a more affordable premium class ticket than you would, say, in summers past or even summers in the future. So if you have the funds, definitely keep an eye out. And closer in, we typically wouldn't give this advice of waiting until the last minute, but book your ticket in, say, main economy and see if you can actually upgrade. You might get that best bang for your buck, because airlines are looking to make an offer to upgrade people, so they're getting some sort of revenue in those premium seats versus no revenue.
And then as far as wanting to stay closer to home, closer to the mainland U.S., maybe Latin America, Caribbean, that seems to be a hot ticket this summer.
Yeah, those are two areas where we typically see in the months of July and August, prices come down a little bit due to hurricane season. However, this year we're seeing, those aren't specifically the areas that we're seeing the biggest drops in terms of prices. But again, if you're a little bit flexible, we are seeing some great deals to Latin America. Like you can go to Guatemala from Charlotte for only $347 round trip. I just got back from Antigua, Guatemala, and can scream on the rooftops. It is an incredible place, especially for outdoor enthusiasts. There are volcanoes everywhere, some active, some not, but the hiking is spectacular, and it really is just a really great place to sort of kick off any Latin American travel if you've never been to that area. So if you go into the summer and want to prioritize those specific places, looking at the Caribbean specifically, understanding that, you might find a better deal closer in. However, because it is hurricane season, you run that risk. So that's where we would maybe suggest looking at travel insurance.
Katie, what is the best deal personally for you that you've seen for summer of 2025?
Oh gosh, well, I booked my summer travels already. I have a friend that's based in Germany, and we got a mistake fare. Now, we don't know when these will happen, and these are basically mistakes that the airlines publish, and they could be upwards of 90% off in some cases. Now, this mistake fare was for a business class seat from Philadelphia out to Copenhagen for around $940 round trip. That is an incredible deal, and it was a bit more than what I was looking to spend on my summer travels, but it was one of those deals that you don't want to pass up, and you want to book a mistake fare quickly because they likely have a very, very short lifespan in terms of how long they last and you're able to book before the price changes. That deal almost lasted only 30 minutes before the price went exponentially up. And you have to make sure that you get a confirmation from the airline because airlines oftentimes won't honor those tickets. So wait about a week, make sure you have your reference code and check to see that it actually was ticketed. So, keep your eyes out. We're not saying that mistake fares are going to happen across the summer, but we're seeing such great availability and discounts that you can get a really great ticket for summer travel. Maybe not mistake fare level, but still really great.
That is unbelievable. $941, a business class seat from Philly to Copenhagen.
Lie flat seat, yeah. I saw it. I saw the moment,
Lucky.
and I ran for it.
Yeah, I would too. I would be like, oh, Copenhagen was kind of number 9 on my list, but I'll go.
Right, and honestly, Copenhagen in the summer is, again, spectacular, and I think a lot of people prioritize Southern Europe when not only is it going to be cooler, but we tend to see less people traveling that area in general. And on the Going app right now, we have actually a lot of great deals to Scandinavia for summer.
All right, one last question, Katie. The biggest mistake, fill in the blank, the biggest mistake people make when trying to book their summer plans is?
The biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to book their summer plans is waiting until the last minute, especially because it's a peak season. I think a lot of people, especially now, they have decision paralysis because, okay, I don't know if I should be spending this much or making discretionary spends across the summer because I don't know what's going to happen. But if you have any desire to take even just one trip domestically or internationally, you want to get on top of that now. And again, I know I keep harping on it, but you really want to take advantage of what's available because it's likely that a lot of others out there might change their minds, decide to take a trip, and that actually puts upward pressure on those prices. So I think a lot of people think, oh, last minute, airlines are just going to slash prices, when typically, historically, we see that go in the upwards direction. We don't want people missing out on the great deals through the Going app that are available now that they can take advantage of for summer.
Katie Nastro with Going. Download going.com. Great advice. Do not wait for the last minute to book your summer travel plans. All right, Katie, got to get on it as soon as we're done with the stream here.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, and some great advice for you there as people are looking forward to May. It's getting so warm. Again, Chris Mulcahy coming up with your weekend forecast. In the meantime, Karen Reed is back in session today. They did take a break out of Dedham, Massachusetts. This is the retrial of Karen Reed. Let's go to that live now. Jennifer McCabe is the key witness that is on the stand. She resumes the stand today. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Answer you. I don't remember this. I'm sorry. I don't remember the specifics. If you want to show me and then I can review it. I know the answer to the question. I'm just not sure of my exact words on that day.
I didn't ask you what your exact words were. I'm asking you about your memory. You're testifying based on your memory, Ms. McCabe, are you not?
Okay. All right, go ahead and answer that question. Are you answering these questions based on your memory, Ms. McCabe?
So I'm answering questions based on my memory of what happened on the 28th and the 29th. I've testified multiple times. I've been interviewed by multiple police officers. So to pinpoint one conversation is a bit of a challenge for me. But what I can tell you is what I remember from that day, which was, I'm sure, very similar to however I answered, because it's the same.
May I approach?
Yes.
Refresh your recollection and look at the
Tell
transcript.
Mr. Brennan what page you're at.
Sure. 188, 189. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't get an answer to that question, Ms. McCabe. Would it refresh your, I just have to do this for the record. Would it refresh your recollection to look at your transcript?
I'll look at it, yes. Okay.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did that refresh your recollection about what you told the grand jurors in terms of whom you communicated with or attempted to communicate with that morning?
Yes.
What did you tell the grand jurors?
I told them that I communicated with Miss Reed and that I called Julie Albert.
And Tom Beattie.
Oh, and Tom Beattie, I'm sorry.
Right. So in both of those statements, to Trooper Prince when you were asked about your communications, and at the grand jury, by the way, at the grand jury, when you were asked who you communicated that morning, who you communicated with that morning, you didn't need to see a report, did you? You didn't ask to see a report, like you're doing here.
Well, I'm asking because you're asking specific questions about what I said on a specific day, and depending on who's asking the question, they ask questions in a different manner. So the answer is always going to be the same. If you ask me who I spoke to, I'm always going to tell you I spoke to Miss Reed and Julie. I called Julie Albert and I called Tom Beattie. The answer is always the same, but the way the question asked and maybe some of the words that I use may be different. And I don't remember on specific days. We've been questioned many times, but the answers are always going to be the same. The wording may be different.
You done? Finished? Does that answer?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm going to allow that, but let's move on.
I'm trying, all right. When the Commonwealth asked questions about who you contacted that morning, at the grand jury, you didn't need to have your recollection refreshed with anything. You said, I talked to Karen Reed, I called Julie Albert, I called Tom Beattie, correct?
Correct.
And that's exactly what you told Trooper Prince as well. Karen Reed, Julie Albert, Tom Beattie. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
But you did make another phone call that morning that you left out of both of those statements, didn't you?
I'm not sure.
At 5:07 a.m., you called over to 34 Fairview, didn't you?
If it's in my phone record, then I must have.
It's in your phone records that you're aware of. Well, let me ask it a different way. You're aware that your phone records actually show that at 5:07, you called to 34 Fairview Nicole Albert's phone, correct?
Correct.
It shows also that that call lasted 38 seconds, correct?
I'm not sure what it shows.
You actually spoke to your sister, Nicole, that morning?
I did not speak to my sister, no.
So that 38-second call went to voicemail?
I'm not sure. All I can tell you is I never spoke to my sister Nicole that morning prior to waking her up.
But you do acknowledge that you made a phone call at 5:07 to Julie Albert. I'm sorry, to Nicole Albert, your sister, over at 34 Fairview in those early morning hours, right?
Yes, I learned after. When I'm first being questioned, it's days after. It was a chaotic morning. I remembered the waterfall, Julie, then Tom Beatty. Calling to my sister wasn't as important ingrained in my mind at that point. No.
And then you testified at a grand jury, not hours or days later. You testified at a grand jury months later, correct?
Correct.
And at that grand jury, you also left out the fact that you contacted your sister, correct?
There's nothing nefarious. I remembered who I called. I didn't go back and look at phone records.
I didn't say it was nefarious. Why would you use the word nefarious?
Because there's nothing about me calling my sister that is nefarious, and I feel like you're insinuating it might be, and it's not.
Did you use that word because it sounds nefarious?
No, I just used the word because I think that's how you're trying to portray something that is nothing.
Or did you use that word because you think that's how it's coming across? That's nefarious.
No.
Without contacting 34 Fairview.
No, not at all.
Later that morning of January 29th, by the way, you do acknowledge that your phone records show that you called at 5:07 a.m. to your sister's cell phone, correct?
I don't have them in front of me, but I believe that is correct, yeah.
Okay. Were you calling your sister's phone to alert her of something? Is that why you called?
No.
Later that morning on January 29th, after those initial phone calls and after the scene had been cleared, at about 11:30 in the morning, you did have a formal interview with Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor, did you not?
I did, yes.
Day before yesterday, you testified that Karen Reed, actually I think it may have been Tuesday, you testified on direct examination that Karen Reed just showed up at your house screaming, correct?
Correct.
In point of fact, you told Michael Proctor in that 11:30 a.m. or thereabouts, that interview that morning, that on January 29th, when Karen was on the phone with you, you told her to come to your house. Isn't that true?
No, I never told her to come to my house.
She told you she wanted to go search for John, and instead of saying, I'll come meet you or I'll go wherever you want to go, you told her, no, come to my house and pick me up and we'll go together. Correct?
No, that's incorrect.
Do you remember talking to Trooper Proctor on that day?
I do, yes.
Do you remember exactly what you told him concerning the plan to either come to your house or go search for John?
There was never a plan for Karen to come to my house.
Do you remember exactly what you told him with that regard on that issue?
No, I don't.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at a police report that he drafted on that issue?
Well, those are his words or summary.
That's not my question. I know these are his words. He wrote it. Mm-hmm. My question is, would it refresh your recollection about what you told him to take a look at his report?
I know what happened, and I know what I told him. I don't know what's written in that report.
Yes or no?
I don't need to see the report, no.
Because it would not refresh your recollection to see a report where he indicated that you told him that you directed Miss Reed to come to your house. I object.
The objection is sustained. I'm going to strike that, folks.
You also told...
Okay, can we come to side that, please?
Back out here in the Live Impact studio, they are going to a sidebar out of Dedham, Massachusetts. But as you can see already, a contentious cross-exam of Jennifer McCabe, whose the defense team for Karen Read, saying that McCabe is lying about what happened on the day of John O'Keefe's death. And O'Keefe, of course, was the boyfriend of Read. Karen Read, who is accused of second-degree manslaughter in the death of John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer. All right, at 9:39, as we wait for meteorologist Chris Mulcahy to come in and talk about the weather, we are tracking some potential severe weather. We're staying weather alert, especially for Saturday. But also happening this weekend is the Kentucky Derby. That's going to be. We forgot our fascinators.
We had a whole plan. Viewers, we had a whole plan. We were going to bring our fascinators in. Jane and I both forgot.
I know.
We both have cute little ones.
Yeah, you couldn't find it in your costume box.
I couldn't find it in my
Lesson learned. Got to find that costume box, Carly.
Gotta find it.
Right. In the meantime, we do have a story happening on the Kentucky Derby because of course it is playing here on WCNC Charlotte, and those 2.5 minutes, a very exciting one. Let's get to that here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Step into Steve Buttleman's multi-purpose inner sanctum. On one hand, it's a factory for the myriad bracelets and rosaries he makes by hand.
And it's really been fun in a way to connect with people because, like, I know one of my bracelets is in South Africa, I believe. People think it's exciting that it's made here in the winner's circle, too, which is kind of cool.
It's also a scrapbook of treasured pictures and memories, autographs of young kids who wish to play alongside the official Kentucky Derby bugler.
And I still have it in the pagoda. I always will. Cody from Cody's Wish, I've got his picture, a flower from the funeral.
And this is a green room, too, before showtime. Steve's uniform is ready. All he needs now is his Pickett Blackburn Herald Bugle, made in Lexington.
When you're going outside, the temperature doesn't change on the mouthpiece like it would with the brass or the silver. Even with the gold plating, that's a little warmer, but this is still more consistent.
Consistency and 30 years of this experience under his belt. But even seasoned pros need their routines to stay focused on Derby Day.
When I come out, I mean, it's easy to find something to get distracted. So I usually look like right at the end of actually one of the poles there, right at the end.
About an hour before the big race, Buttleman will step away from the crowded pagoda and take a walk down the turf track.
When I get to the top of the stretch up here, I turn around and I see the twin spires and people in all their regalia and having a great time. Hopefully the sun's out like this, and I just think, gosh, wow, what did I do to get to be the guy? And I just say, thank you, God. Please help me not screw up.
Even when things aren't picture perfect, Steve's charisma and talent shine through. The qualities that helped him earn this job at an audition for the 121st Derby are the same that make him quite the star, even to household names.
I had a family here, probably was going to stick around, because I'm not silly enough to think that I'm the greatest trumpet player that, ever lived or anything. I feel grateful to be a part of every Derby, but the 150th definitely. It'd be nice to be around for 175, but
I think you got that.
We'll see.
Who's going? I haven't been yet. Cara, you have been?
I'd love to go. I'd love to go.
I know.
You've been. We just talked about you've been to a horse race.
I've been to Del Mar in Santiago, and what is the other one? Santa Anita, also in SoCal. But
Fancy.
I know that was it. But how about you?
Fancy. I've been to the Carolina Cup in Camden, South Carolina.
Nice, of course.
I've been to the Charleston Cup, and I've been to race at like Aiken Steeplechase, which is also South Carolina. So very South Carolina.
So fun though.
It is fun. It's an experience in like.
I'm not even a betting person.
No, neither. I've never bet. I'm there to I wear the hats. I get a Bloody Mary.
The people watching.
I make a morning of it. Yeah,
yes,
it's the ambiance I'm here
exactly. And that's what the Kentucky Derby is about.
Yeah.
Is to just take in the whole
tradition.
Scene, because 2.5 minutes.
Done.
All of the pomp and circumstance for
Done.
that moment, and then some other races.
Sure. And again, it's the tradition. It's the mint juleps.
The mint juleps.
It's the fashion. It's the prestige.
Yeah. Well,
one day. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I mean, we're right there.
We're right there. We're not that far. We could do it.
We could drive.
We could drive. We could make a day of it.
We could make a day of it. All right. How fun is that? All right. Well, something to enjoy this weekend. Also to enjoy, of course, is the Love and Life, and we are going to go back now to the court, the retrial of Karen Reed, Jennifer McCabe. That sidebar was a quick one. So Jennifer McCabe resuming her testimony on the stand. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+.
In the days following January 29th, in the events of January 29th, 2022, were you and your family coordinating your versions of the events that occurred on that morning?
No.
Were you and your family coordinating some sort of damage control in terms of the language that your family would use to the public, to the press, to law enforcement?
No.
Did you and your family use a group chat, you and part of your family use a group chat to text each other to coordinate your communications with either the press or the public or law enforcement or family or friends?
I have multiple group chats with family and friends.
You had a very specific group chat that included yourself, Nicole, your sister, Brian Albert, and Matt McCabe, correct?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, if I may.
Okay.
I have a 2-page document that I'd like to have marked right now. All right. Asked to approach. Sure.
Thank you.
Did you show Mr. Brennan what it was?
Mr. Brennan, I did. I failed to show you.
That's okay.
Thank you. It's the one from the 29th. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell me if you recognize what's depicted or what's contained on that 2-page document?
Yes.
Don't read it at this point. Just tell me, what is that? What are we looking at?
This is looks like a group chat with me and my sister, Nicole. Oh, no, just actually conversations with just myself and my sister, Nicole.
May I approach?
Yes.
Yes, it's mine.
Oh, sure.
It's a big case for identification.
Did you happen to catch the date of these chats? I just took the document away from you. I apologize.
It's okay. I didn't know.
May I approach?
Sure. Do you have an extra copy so she has one and you have
I'll just leave that one. I've got an extra copy for myself. I'll leave that one.
Thank you.
Do you note the date of that series of chats?
Yes, it says 1/29/22.
Okay. Is that a chat just between yourself and yourself and Nicole, or is that include others as well?
I think it's just myself and Nicole.
There was another series of chats, we'll get to that in a second, that does include Nicole, Brian, Matt McCabe, correct?
Yes.
On this particular set of texts, do you see the first text starting in the green box? That is a text from you to, it says Coco, correct?
Yes, that's my sister, Nicole.
Okay. And you recognize this text?
I do, yes.
And you recognize the texts following in the following bubbles?
Yes.
I would ask that this be marked moved into evidence.
Is there any objection?
If I could review it briefly.
Sure. Why don't I see you at sidebar for a minute, please?
Looks like they're going to take another sidebar here. We're going to sit on this just for a moment because the last one was a little short. So give us a moment here. But in the meantime, you're looking at the eruption, the 19th eruption at Kilauea volcano in Hawaii. And we are tracking storm potential in Charlotte that will certainly affect folks heading to the Love and Life Music Fest
There's
this
also
weekend.
Kendrick Lamar this weekend,
And Kendrick
too.
Lamar at Bank of America.
And there's Knights games. Like, it's going to be a busy weekend
time
uptown.
in
We've
Uptown.
been saying it all week. I'm like, parking?
Well,
if you can find a way to light rail in,
right,
that's
Bob
probably
Durkin
the best way to do it.
with Southern Entertainment said, yeah, light rail or Uber.
Yeah.
I would just go there early in the day and plant.
Or if you
And
if
just
you can
sorta-
strategize early, because we know parking when it's that many events happening at once is
Absolutely.
Not great.
Not great. But look at the beautiful shot there right now of Uptown. It's gorgeous today.
Gorgeous.
Nice and sunny.
Stunning.
It is very stunning indeedy. Are you going to?
No. I'm
not going to Love and Life.
I'd like to because I do love Gwen Stefani.
Same.
Love Gwen Stefani. Big
Right.
No Doubt fan. I love Gwen in her solo career with her Harajuku Girls. I was all about it.
Oh, yes.
All about it.
Yeah. Still doing it.
Still doing it.
Yep.
Still doing it. No Doubt it's one of
Don't
my
speak.
favorites.
Yeah.
When she had the red lip and she was just the coolest girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
She was the coolest girl.
And she sang deeply,
Yes.
deep songs, and then she sings B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Her ska stuff, and then she's got some, other bangers. Love her.
Yeah. Don't speak.
Don't speak.
I know what you're thinking.
We're going to get copyright. We're going to get copyright. We're going to get struck.
That's right. But anywho, so Charlotte looks beautiful today. It seems that, what's the deal with Mulcahy?
We're waiting on him.
Meteorologist
We're having a
Mulcahy.
little bit of a computer hiccup, so he will be here.
All right. But
We've
he
been
says,
teasing it.
I know.
Chris will arrive.
He said that we need to be weather alert for Saturday because of storms that will be definitely tracking into the Queen City. So that will certainly affect your weekend plans. All right, Carlene, let's see. Let's go back to that lovely 3-box.
Sure.
There it is. All right, here comes Chris, but we'll sit on this for a second and bring Chris in, and they might go to that. They might come back out of the sidebar. That's what you're watching, the ceiling fan. When they go to sidebar, we don't see the jurors, we don't see the judge, but the lawyers are talking to the judge right now with this high-profile court case of the retrial of Karen Reed that is happening. That is happening this day 8, I believe, after taking a break yesterday, 7 or 8. But in the
second week, we know that for sure.
that is for sure. The key witness right now is Jennifer McCabe. She is one of the witnesses who was with Karen when they spotted Reed's boyfriend at the time, the boyfriend John O'Keefe's body in the snow, and he was dead. So that retrial is happening right now. We will go back to it when we can, when we see that they are out of a recess. In the meantime, the man of the hour, as we are coming up on 9:55 here, it is Chris Mulcahy.
I just want to say I was fascinated looking at a ceiling fan and an active volcano.
People are wondering, what is happening here?
I don't know. Both sides of my brain was like, what do you do here?
Yeah.
But actually, this is a good time since we are getting warmer. Don't forget that your ceiling fan should be spinning in a counterclockwise motion that creates more of a downdraft, and that's more of the cooler side. So make sure that is happening.
That's good advice.
So a friendly fan reminder, I have no volcano advice because we live here in the Carolinas, thank goodness.
Have you ever seen a volcano?
Never, but I've always wanted to. I'm not sure about that active, whatever we were just looking at, but...
Oh, yeah, fun fact. It is between 210 and 280,000 years old.
Wow.
So it started to erupt December of 2024.
Bet it has some stories, for sure.
Exactly. All right, Chris, let's talk about love and life.
Okay.
And our lovely weather.
Okay, so first off, I just want to preface here that I was trying to throw out as many favors as I could with Mother Nature for this to be better.
She didn't listen.
And literally each and every day I got in, the front kept on getting slower. And what that means is initially it was looking like, okay, maybe this could perfectly arrive on Friday night into Saturday. But since it is taking its sweet time, it keeps storm chances around longer. And it looks like it finally decided position that it is going to make its final passage on Saturday night into Sunday. So Sunday is the only day as of right now that looks like it's going to be picture perfect, but it's still not great for the time being. So our severe weather impacts, I think the biggest thing here is let's just talk about lightning. So when you think about severe weather, you think about, oh, hail, damaging winds. No, just plain and simple lightning. And that's our biggest issue here because we're so focused on if a storm is going to downpour at the stadium, or going to downpour at Love and Life, whatever concert you're talking about. No, the big deal is about if you hear thunder or not. Because if you hear thunder, that means the storm is likely within 10 miles and they could shut things down. So that's my biggest concern, I think, especially for your Saturday. Things are all of a sudden turning on me from everything I was saying earlier for tonight, but I really just want the lightning thing to be in the back of our heads, but then also some localized flooding. We could have 1 to 2 inches of rain pretty quickly from this system, and then also there is a chance for some of those damaging winds as well. So one thing the Storm Prediction Center did do was put us under a low risk for severe storms for today and this evening. I think this is really kind of cover your own you-know-what type of deal. And a lot of times they'll do this is just in case something from the overnight is going to hold together for a severe criteria. I'm not saying that you're not going to have a strong thunderstorm across that area that's in the yellow that you're seeing here. It just doesn't seem like it's really going to be a widespread threat. So we're not going to go weather alert for this time period.
Okay.
There will be maybe 1 or 2. We're going more weather alert for later tomorrow because of the setup and everything that's happening there. Also, here's a look at one of our more recent futurecasts. And the big deal is I think that you have the best chance for showers and storms northwest of us. Notice how there's a lot more activity up in the mountains and the foothills. It's a lot more populated. So it's through that area. I think that's a better chance for a shower and storm. That's where the old SPC was for a low risk, but then they've expanded it now because they're factoring in this little dying system down towards the south. This is the one change that I've seen since earlier. So there's different models that we look at. This is one that updates every hour. This now has a chance for storms right around Benson Boone and Gwen Stefani. So it's like one of those you can't win, because this literally has no rain all day long until this little guy pops up. Let's hope that this is just making things up. Let's just move on. Okay. Because this model that just recently updated is disagreeing with everything else that happened, but I was mentioning all morning long, there is the outside chance that there could be 1 or 2 storms, and they will be slow moving, and if that does happen, if it sits over there, that's a rough scenario. So fingers crossed. I think that's really what we have to do. Now, tomorrow, for sure, we have a low risk for even some hail and a low risk for some gusty winds throughout the day tomorrow. We have a near 0 chance for tornadoes. It does not really look that to be that likely, but our scattered storms, especially late afternoon through the evening, with the flooding potential, the heavy rain, the lightning, we're telling you to bring your poncho, be prepared, and also stay weather aware, because it's awful that I think this is the busiest weekend I've ever seen in Charlotte.
Right.
And then you have these scenarios. And check out this rain that we're going to see, y'all. Up to 1 to 2 inches plus, and most of this falls on Saturday. So that's the case and scenario. I'm an optimist, so this is really a bummer for me. I'm trying to find any silver lining. But speaking of optimism, as I mentioned, the best chance is further off towards the north and west. Check out this radar loop. So this is 8 o'clock, and then if you move that forward, you don't see anything in the Charlotte area. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to get nipped by a storm. I think somebody is. They're going to be around. I think it's a better chance for rain really through the overnight, so we could have wet ground or a wet concert stage by tomorrow. Now, Once we get to the afternoon, things are all over the place. I think you're going to have developing pop-up showers, developing showers and storms. And the biggest concern I have here is if you have one after another. So all aboard, this is called training. If you have one storm followed by another storm, think about links of a train. That's where you have the highest flood potential. And we do see kind of forms of that initially in the afternoon. I think if there's going to be any severe storms, especially severe thunderstorm warnings, it's closing out the afternoon and evening, because check out this line that starts to move through. It literally turns into a little bit of a bow. Whenever you see that, that's showing more damaging straight line winds. And luckily, this kind of passes the area. This is my best model that I have for you, because there's a trough and then there's a cold front that are going to divide. I'm actually going to backtrack before we get here, but you potentially going to see all that heavier rain. This is where you could easily see about an inch across an hour. That's 2 a.m. So really the question mark is, and again, this is all tomorrow, so a lot of things can change. We've seen this change each and every day. This has been actually one of the more maddening forecasts I've had, and this is why people make jokes about meteorologists and flipping coins, because every single day, I would say even over the last few hours, it continues to change and fluctuates by a few hours. So we're either going to have one of two scenarios that happens on Saturday night. Either one, you're going to have on and off storms, there's a bunch of delays, and then rain continues through the evening, and then love and life for day 2. Lamar says not a good situation. Or you have rain that rolls through. I think rain is in the cards regardless, and we hit a little bit of a lull, because as I showed you there, you had that line of storms. That wasn't good in general. But this one has almost an open window where you can still have a little bit of light rain from about 9 to midnight, but then the heaviest rain that would shut things down doesn't arrive until afterwards. So I'm not saying that, absolutely don't go. I'm just saying that the odds are not right now in our favor. But as I mentioned, I was going to backtrack, because this is the setup that we have, and this is the ideal. There's a trough, which is an area of low pressure, and then there's a cold front, which drives everything up. So you technically have two pieces on the board that are giving us chances for rain on Saturday. That's why there's so many from pretty much the afternoon, evening, and overnight. But at least we are going to see some sunshine on the back end, because on Sunday it looks like things are going to clear out. So if you're doing anything a Sunday afternoon, things are a little bit better then. I know there's still a lot going on in Love and Life, but for the meantime, we are going weather alert starting in the afternoon through the evening into the early morning hours, developing sunshine for the afternoon, and then after that, nothing really big to look forward to, just a little bit cooler next Wednesday.
All right. Anyone going to Love and Life then in the room?
No, I'm not going. I hadn't planned. Yeah. I do love Teddy Swims. Yeah, he's on Sunday. I've been really anticipating that. I love Ludacris.
Luda?
That's at 7.
Atlanta's finest, right?
Yes.
Actually, I'm not sure how much time you have.
We have time
all the time
now.
You got time?
I just got
nothing but time.
I just
All
got
right,
a no
so
show.
this is essentially we're just playing foolish weather games over here. Shout out to Jewel. That's my version of that.
Nice.
And meanwhile, nobody knows who Jewel is nowadays.
Oh,
you
Jewel
know
is.
foolish games. I won't sing anymore. I don't want copyright infringement.
She sings on the stool. Yeah, she has a stool.
Yeah, man.
Guitar.
Oh,
yeah.
bring it back. I'm going to listen to Jewel on the way home. Okay, anyways. So I created something that's called our concert cast. So let's bring that up. So this literally is where Love and Life is, but then also this works out because if you focus in after 7 o'clock, we also have the big concert at Bank of America Stadium. So this model right here is called the HRRR, so the High Resolution Rapid Refresh. All you have to need to know is this is the one that sometimes can go a little bit more aggressive, but it also is the one that rapidly updates every single hour. So let's go through it. So this one right here, as most of them do, shows that this evening, and I'm going to bring up things, Benson Boone, 8 to 9. Wow. Right now, nothing. Again, there's only one that shows that storm. So there's the outside chance. If that happens, we're unlucky, and then we're going to buy lottery tickets, and we're going to have a better Saturday. Gwen Stefani, you saw a little blip of green. Here, I'm going to go back. So you see how quick, see how close it is? So it's going to be close. There's going to be storms in the area. There's going to be rain in the area, but we'll see how it is. Hopefully, Gwen's going to do her magic. But then overnight, rain's going to move in. So I think regardless, you're going to have rain after 11. It looks like it's close to about that midnight, so it's going to be a close call. Hey, there was some rain during Stevie Nicks last year, and it actually enhanced things. So you could have a wet start to the day, but then once you restart Love and Life on Saturday, this is the big question mark. Where are those storms going to be? So Petey Pablo,
North Carolina.
Yeah, shout out. But here's the deal. I'm going to try to slow things down as much as possible because it happens so fast because we're zoomed in so much. notice. Let me see, 3:15. Boom, there it is.
Oh.
See,
That doesn't look
I'm saying it's going to rain. I'm very confident it's going to rain. I'm just over here just trying to dodge these storms. So there's going to be some of the earlier acts that are going to be disappointed. This is torrential downpours. This is, the way that the seats are. If you have one of these when anything's happening, like water's going to be filling up areas of the streets. Drains overwhelmed for the brief period. Now, luckily, I think there's going to be some breaks in between. So it depends. That could be shifting an hour. We're still talking about over a day out here, but you have on and off rain, on and off rain. There is a chance that we could break things up. Here's that little lull I was talking about. So this brings us up to ludicrous time, but what moves right back? Another potential shower or storm, but we could open things back up for Weezer before you have even more widespread rain that really starts to take over through the overnight. So maybe that didn't help, but hey, Penelope Road, haven't heard of this band or person, but it looks to be clear, and everything else is clear after that for Sunday.
I mean, yeah, it's 50 plus acts out there.
Yeah.
They're going to
Yeah.
be affected, and vans and the like, so it's going to be tough.
What angers me is that literally we've been praying for rain because of this
I
drought
know.
status, and then it was like, okay, let's do it all at once when we have probably the biggest acts here in Charlotte for the year. So
Yeah.
I hope things change. This is the one time that I have to say, haha, Chris, you were wrong.
You're
Bad
hoping-
job.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, it's not looking good. You saw that. I literally just showed you in the time that I've been talking 4 different models, and all of them say one thing: it's gonna rain.
It's going to rain. Bring
Yeah.
your ponchos. It
Yes.
sometimes makes things to be a memorable experience. Like you said, Stevie Nicks. I remember I wasn't there, but I saw photos, and everybody seemed to have a good time. Rain or shine.
Hey, and that's also the thing. If you can just get the rain, it's the lightning. That's what's
Yeah.
really going to
Yeah.
be a bummer with these, because it. I would say about a week ago when we were seeing storms, they were rainstorms. We weren't really having the thunder and lightning. These have a better chance with that. So as long as you don't hear the thunder, which is, I'm saying, an absolute positive, maybe later in the evening it might be good. But yeah, let's keep doing these, guys. That's the best we can do.
All right. May the odds be in your favor.
The odds, you saw the movie I was
So-
throwing
oh,
down.
right,
Yeah,
when
you know.
you said in your favor. Hopefully, the Hunger Games will work in festival goers' favor.
Or go into a restaurant if you're hungry, and then maybe the games will be better when you get it.
All right. Chris Mulcahy joining us here with your Love and Life forecast
Love
for
being
the
here.
weekend. Good luck, everybody. It's going to be a little bit of a rough one. Might see some delays, but memorable at the very least.
Exactly, making memories.
Making memories. That's what we can do. We're back out here in the, I was going to say in the Love and Life Impact Studio. We are. This is true, Carlene. We're Love and Life, and we are going to switch gears completely because guess what? The Karen Reed retrial back underway. Sidebar is over. Let's get to that here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. May I stand at the witness stand for just a second?
Thank you. Don't have a separate copy for Ms. McCabe?
I do. I'm going to hand her this one and ask that this be marked.
Jennifer McCabe on the stand, key witness to discovering the body of John O'Keefe. Right now, discussing chats she's seen in certain threads, discussing things with the lawyer there.
Chris Albert's on that.
Let's see if we can hear him.
Yeah, Brian, sorry.
So the 4 of you?
Yes.
Okay. And does this appear to be a group chat that was engaged between and among y'all on February 1st, starting, I'm going to try to bookend it, starting at about noon, ending at about 5 or 5:30 that evening?
I didn't look, but I'll take your word for it.
If you could just look at the first one or two.
Oh, yeah. February 1st, yeah. Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
And then the last one, same date, around 5:30?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'd ask that this be marked
Right. Say, for identification or in evidence?
into evidence.
Same objection, Mr. Bryan?
Please.
Yes, that can come into evidence. 48.
Can I?
And jurors, the same instruction regarding the electronic communications and the same instruction regarding this is not to be used for the truth of what's in there, but simply as opposed to using a fake statement.
With the court's permission to publish, please.
Yes.
If we could start at the second text down. Ms. Wool, can you make that a little bigger? I apologize. Thank you. Do you recognize what's depicted both on the screen and in your hand?
Yes.
Does it appear to be the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Taking a look at that first text, who is that from and who is it to?
Okay. All right. It's from Brian Albert, and it's to myself, my sister Nicole, and Matt McCabe, my husband.
And if you can orient us, please, and I won't do this with every single text, but orient us for the first text. What date and time is this text?
This is February 1st at 12:50.
So this is about 3 days after the event in question.
Yes.
12:50 noon.
Noon, yes.
Just before 1 p.m.
Yes.
What does that text say?
Julie said Channel 4 is in D&E.
And that's from whom?
Brian.
So Brian Albert is, explain what that text means.
So Brian Albert is telling us that Julie told him Channel 4 is in D&E.
Who's Julie?
I'm sorry, Julie Albert.
Thank you. Let's go to the next text. Is this in response to the text that you just read?
Yes.
The prior text mentioned Channel 4 and D&E. What is D&E?
D&E is a sub shop that is owned by Chris Albert.
Is that in Canton?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's in Canton.
On the main street of Canton?
Yes.
Directly next door to what?
Waterfall.
Across the street from Waterfall?
Oh, sorry, C.F. McCarthy's, yeah.
Thank you. Across the street from Waterfall, directly adjoining, they have an adjoining wall to C.F. McCarthy's, correct?
Yes.
And D, is it D and E or D in E?
D and E.
D and E. Okay,
Yeah.
that's just the name of the pizza sub shop.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that context. Ms. McCabe, can you read what this text says, who it's from and who it's to?
This is from Matt McCabe to myself, my sister Nicole, and Brian.
Can you read it for us, please?
Sure. Eating, I assume. Ask Chris to ask some questions. Tell them the guy never went into the house.
What does tell them the guy never went into the house mean to you? How did you take that?
I took that as John never came in the house.
Who's the guy?
John.
John O'Keefe.
Yes.
And the beginning of that sentence is tell them that the guy never came in the house, correct?
Yes.
And the sentence before that is ask Chris to ask some questions, correct?
Yes.
So this is Matt McCabe directing that Chris ask questions of Channel 4, correct?
I wouldn't say directing.
Whatever word you want to use. He was
No, I'm saying that Matt.
suggesting.
I think we're all looking to find out what happened, so Matt was like, ask some questions. What do they know?
And also indicating that Chris should tell them the guy never came in the house, correct?
John never came in the house, correct?
Okay. Next text, please. Can you orient us? Who is this text from and who is it to?
Okay. This text is from Brian to myself, to Nicole, and to Matt.
Brian who?
Sorry, Brian Albert.
And this is in response to the text above that you just read, correct?
Yes.
Where Matt McCabe said, tell Chris to find out, get an update or something, and tell him that the guy never came in the house.
Yes.
This is in response to that text.
Yes.
And what does Brian Albert respond?
Exactly.
One word, correct?
Yes.
Next text, please. This is a green box, so I presume this is you?
Yes, it is.
And this is to whom?
To Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
And what does your text read?
It means, oh my God.
It's O-N-G, but
Yeah.
it meant to be O-M-G, correct?
Yes, yeah, I do a lot of errors.
Which stands for oh my God.
Yes.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
So this is from my sister Nicole to myself, to Brian, and to Matt.
And what does that text read?
It says, I assume it's just to eat, but Brian, if she is there, ask her what the deal is.
Next text, please. Before I ask you about this text, the last text, that was from whom one more time?
My sister Nicole.
It was from your sister Nicole?
Yes.
And she mentions a she, a pronoun she.
Yes.
Is that referring to Julie Albert?
To be honest, I don't know who she's referring to.
Well, remember the first text started, or did the first text start with someone reporting that Julie said that Channel 4 was in D&E?
Yes, it did.
So would that prior text mean get Julie Albert to get some updates on what's going on? Let's go back to that last text one more time.
Yeah,
You see where it reads, if she's there? Does that mean if Julie is at D&E, hence she just reported that Channel 4 is there?
I'm truly not sure who she's referring to as the she.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the next text, please. Mr. Wilk, I think you missed one. The one above it. Who's this text from and who's it to?
This text is from myself, and it is to my sister Nicole, to Brian, and to Matt.
And what does this read?
This says, to ask if we heard if she is in a mental hospital.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who's it to?
This is from me to my sister Nicole, to Brian, and to Matt.
What's the time on this text?
2:55.
And what does it read?
Carrie is here going over timeline.
Who's the Carrie referring to?
Carrie Roberts.
What is here?
I would assume here would mean my house.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Brian to me, to Nicole, to Matt.
And what does this text read?
I did hear that.
Next text, please. Who's this text from and who's it to?
This text is from me to my sister Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What does it read?
And we handed the phone to Carrie.
Who's Carrie?
Carrie Roberts.
What phone are you referring to?
Mine.
Who was on the other end of that phone?
On February 1st, I believe it could have been Michael Proctor.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What does it read?
She is telling him everything.
Everything is in all caps with an exclamation point, correct?
Yes, it is.
What's the timestamp on this, Ms. McCabe?
2:55.
Who's the him that you're referring to in this text?
I believe it was Michael Proctor.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who is it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What's the timestamp on this text?
2:55.
Same minute that you sent the last text?
Yes.
She's telling him everything?
Yes.
And then you follow up with what?
All the stuff.
Next text, please. Who's this responsive text from?
This is from Matt to myself, Nicole, and Brian.
And what's the timestamp on this?
4:35.
What does this read?
Yep, if she pleads out, it will end. If she fights it, it will be an episode.
Who's she?
I'm assuming that would be Miss Reed.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Nicole to me, to Matt, and to Brian.
And what does this read?
She liked the text above.
The previous text?
Yes.
Meaning like a thumbs up or a like?
Yeah, it just says liked. So
the one that reads, yeah, if she pleads, it will end. If she fights, it will be an episode.
Yes.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Matt. Oh, sorry, to me, to Nicole, and to Brian.
And what does this read?
Brian, sitting separate.
Is that a period or a comma? I honestly can't see. Is that a period or a comma between Brian and sitting? Or can you tell?
I can't tell if it is or it's just like the way it printed out. I'm not sure.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
Brian, to me, Nicole, and Matt.
What's the timestamp on this?
That is 4:55.
And what does that text read?
Okay.
And the next text. This is another green bubble. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is me, Matt, me, Nicole, Matt, and Brian.
And what did you say, what did you write in this text?
I wrote you listening.
And what's the timestamp on this?
That is 5:15.
I'm sorry, it would be what time?
Oh, I'm sorry, 5:15.
And in fact, at 5:15, Ms. Roberts was in your house being personally interviewed by Massachusetts State Police, correct?
They were there. I'm not sure if this is the exact time, but yes, they did come over.
Just to be clear and to orient us, there was a phone conversation that you were privy to between Carrie Roberts and Michael Proctor telephonically. Right.
She was
earlier in the day.
Yeah, earlier in the day he had called me, and then Carrie had asked to speak with him.
And that's the handing her the phone.
Yes.
Then later, a couple of hours later, 5-ish or so, she was still at your house. Michael Proctor came over and interviewed her at your home.
No.
Sorry. Massachusetts State Police.
Came over and spoke to myself, her, and Matt.
And you wrote you listening to the group, correct?
Yes.
Who was that specifically directed to?
I honestly don't know.
Was there anybody else in the house during her interview other than you and the troopers?
My husband, Matt, my daughter, her friend, my other daughter.
Of the people on this text chain, the only person that would have been in the house that could have conceivably, quote unquote, listened would be Matt. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
It's from me to Matt, Nicole, and Brian.
And what does it read?
Cops here again.
You were reporting to the others on this text stream that the police had arrived at your house. They were in your house with you and Carrie that you just described, correct?
Yes, I was just telling them that they were here again.
Next text, please. Who is this from and who's it to?
This is from my sister, Nicole, to myself, Brian, and Matt. And Nicole says, call us after.
And what time was this?
This was 5:23.
Did you take this to mean that she wanted you to call the group after Carrie Roberts' interview and update them about that interview?
I took it as that she just wanted, to call and see what the cops said and if there was any update, any information.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Matt, and it's to myself, Nicole, and Brian.
What time is this?
This is at 5:31.
And at 5:31, what does Mr. McCabe write to the group?
This girl could write a book nonstop.
Was that in reference to Carrie Roberts having her interview with the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes, it was.
And this girl is Carrie, correct?
Yes.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from me to Nicole, Brian, and Matt.
What time is this text?
5:32.
And what do you write to the group?
I love it.
And this is in direct response to Matt McCabe's, your husband's text about Carrie Roberts could write a book, correct?
Yes.
Suggesting that both you and Mr. McCabe were listening to her interview, correct?
We could hear different parts of it, correct?
Next text, please. And who is this from and who is it to?
This is from me to Nicole, to Brian, to Matt.
What did you write?
I wrote, she is telling them everything.
Similar to the text that we earlier saw that was in all caps when you indicated she's telling them everything, correct?
Yes.
On the phone. That was in reference to what she was saying on the phone.
Yes.
This is in reference to the live interview, correct?
Yes.
Also indicating that you were listening to and were privy to the content of her conversation with the police.
I could hear bits and pieces of it, yes.
Enough to say that she's telling them everything.
When I used the word everything, I meant it in the, not only was she telling them what had happened, but she was also telling them opinions and different things.
Okay, so you could hear it that much.
I could hear her saying some opinions.
Okay. Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from my sister Nicole to myself, to Matt, to Brian.
And this is in response to she is telling them everything, correct?
Yes.
And the text reads what?
Good.
Next text, please. Who's this from and who's it to?
This is from Matt to myself, to Nicole, and to Brian.
And what does it read?
He says, going to miss the basketball game at this rate.
You mean Matt says?
Oh, sorry. Matt says, going to miss the basketball game at this rate.
Indicating that he was still in the house and still privy to the conversation between Carrie Roberts and the Massachusetts State Police.
He was waiting for them to talk, but Carrie kept talking, as he said, she could write a book, so he felt he was going to miss the game because she just kept talking.
Next text, please. That may be the end of it.
Yeah, it is.
Is that the last text on the page?
Yes, it is.
May I approach you on it?
Yes.
Do you want both of them? Okay. There you go.
Ms. McCabe,
yes.
These text messages were on a private chat, both the one between you and your sister, as well as the group chat, correct? Those are private chats, not open to the public.
Correct.
You never intended, obviously, for any of those texts to become public, correct?
I handed my phone over, so I knew all my texts would be seen.
When you were writing the text, when the group was chatting back and forth or texting back and forth, those were intended to be private texts between and among just the people on the text string, correct?
I just was texting my family. I wasn't thinking any more of who was going to see it.
You certainly did not expect when you were writing those texts that the defense, Ms. Karen Reed's representatives, would ever get a hold of those texts. That was not in your mind, correct?
Would never have been in my mind, no.
That is a textbook example, what we've just seen, of witnesses colluding with one another about a subject matter that's under investigation, correct?
I'd move for an instruction.
All right, jurors, disregard that comment completely. Disregard that question.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
All All right, getting a little spicy out there in Massachusetts for the retrial for Karen Reed. Jennifer McCabe going under cross-examination. We want to talk about weather once again as we come up on 10:30 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. We do have our chief meteorologist, Brad Panovich, weighing in on this weather that's going to affect things this weekend, especially if you have plans to go to the Love and Live Music Fest. The 3-day event starts today, but tomorrow is where we want to stay weather alert. Let's go to that vlog now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Big weekend of outdoor activities and we have active weather. But here's the thing, I'm going to lay out everything. I want you to be weather aware and prepared for storms, but also I want you to know there's nothing in the forecast that is going to wash out the entire weekend or have you cancel plans completely. We're in that summer pattern right now. Pop-up storms, scattered storms that last 30, 40 minutes at a time, and then they're done. So this is not one of those things where it's a giant storm system that takes over the whole area all day long. So I just want to lay that out there because oftentimes I see people say, should I cancel my plans for a 40, 50, 60% chance of rain? When that chance of rain is just telling you the chance of a pop-up storm at some point during the day. So just want to lay that out there. We'll get into the details. Use this information to make your decisions accordingly. So what's happening today? Really not a lot. Today looks a lot like yesterday. We've got mostly sunny skies over us. We are watching a cluster of showers to the west, but actually this is the bigger deal back here. I'm going to turn on the severe thunderstorm warnings because we've got some warnings with that system and likely going to see a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch over in Tennessee. This is what we're watching for tonight. Will this cluster make it east? There's a lot of indications it will fall apart, but it's one of those things you can't write it off. But when that arrives, that would be late tonight into the overnight hours. I'm going to turn off the satellite radar. We'll turn off all the watches and warnings, and we're going to show you the severe weather outlook today, which I don't necessarily agree with, and I'll just be straightforward there. Now, I agree with this to the west, but for us, you see this low risk. This is kind of a catch-all. In case those storms try to make a run at us tonight, we might see some gusty winds, but I actually don't think this is going to end up verifying today. So it's nothing to happen today. Tomorrow, the risk, again, for our area is generally low. Yeah, there's a low risk. It's a 5% chance, but severe weather is not a major concern. And when I say severe, large hail, tornadoes, and damaging winds. Can't rule it out. Again, 5% chance. The bigger issue is lightning. Lightning, lightning, lightning. There's no severe criteria for lightning, but lightning is an issue that we have to worry about because that is going to affect your outdoor plans. So let's get right to the forecast. All right, so let's dive into the forecast. I'm going to start with not futurecast, but the upper level pattern because I want to show you how complicated the forecast is and why there is a lot of uncertainty and there's been so much change to the forecast this week. We've had this upper trough coming in and there's indications that it's going to split off and become what we call a cutoff low. You see this area in blue? This is a piece of energy that essentially breaks off from the jet stream and gets trapped. There's another one here and we're basically getting this omega blocking configuration. The Greek letter omega, if you're familiar with that, that's what you're seeing right there. Whoops, I don't know why that happened. We'll delete that out of the way. But that Greek letter omega is showing up there. That is an indication of a pattern that's stagnant or not moving. And forecast guidance and modeling is really difficult with things that don't move and are stagnant. No matter how great AI is or forecasting technology, when things aren't moving, when you don't have numbers to calculate forward speeds and motion, the models tend to get freaked out a little bit. And that's actually a good indication. When you see that, that tells you we're in a stagnant or stalled pattern. You know, think about your GPS in your car. If your car is not moving and you put in a destination, it doesn't know when you're going to get there until it has some idea of a forward speed or motion or traffic patterns. In this case, in the atmosphere, when nothing's moving, it's hard to calculate when things are going to happen. So that's why you get a lot of uncertainty in this pattern. And again, this could be a bust forecast. You could end up with a ton of rain if this thing stalls over you, or it could stall a little further north and you get little to no rain. That's why there's so much huge fluctuations in the forecast. So just wanted to show you that in the upper levels because that explains a lot of what's happening with the wacky forecast this week. So let's get back to the forecast, futurecast of radar so you can plan. All right, so we'll go to the futurecast, and you honestly have to stay weather aware this weekend because this could change based on things with these storms. So right now, this is the futurecast as of 10 a.m. this morning. On Friday, we'll go through this afternoon. I'm going to stop this around 4 or 5 o'clock. Love and Live Music Festival's going on. People are getting in Uptown. People are getting out of work early. Big cluster of storms. This is what I'll be watching all day. What is this thing going to do tonight? For us, just like yesterday, yeah, there could be an isolated shower storm, but look how scattered and isolated they are. You're talking like 20, 30%. This is by 5:30. This is 6, 7. So Love and Life's going on this evening. Main acts are coming on. Big cluster of storms to the west. That's why that is like the thing I'm watching. You can see that to our west, right? That is what I'm watching. And likely that's going to come in overnight. So this is 8, 16, 9, 10, 11. So we're getting past concert time. Oof, hopefully, fingers crossed, no issues tonight. And I really think 90% chance we're going to be fine tonight. We go into the overnight hours. Here comes that storm system from the west. You could see this is 1 o'clock in the morning. So we could have storms overnight tonight into early Saturday morning. This is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You could see that thing falling apart, but still heading our way. We go into Saturday morning. You wake up. This is 7:30 in the morning. Those storms that have moved through, the nice thing about having overnight storms, they tend to use up all the energy and stabilize things, at least temporarily. If the sun comes out Saturday for several hours, then we got to worry about another round. So we'll get to about the middle of the day. This is around 12:18 tomorrow, or Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. You see a couple isolated storms. I don't know how many we'll see because the atmosphere is going to be pretty worked over. It's all going to be about what this thing is doing. So I'm not 100% sure we're going to see anything, but just a heads up, we could see isolated storms in the afternoon Saturday. By the time we get to 3 o'clock, things start ramping back up. We see some scattered storms around the area. And again, this is just one indication where they are right now. They could be anywhere depending on the setup during the afternoon. That's the thing about pop-up storms. It's like looking at water boiling on your stove and trying to figure out where the bubbles are going to form at the bottom of the pot. You just don't know until this gets going. But we know there's going to be some around as we go into the afternoon. So this is 4 o'clock. You see those clustered storms. We get towards 5, 6. It becomes more scattered. It really does through time. The main line looks to be in the evening hours. I would say after 8 o'clock is probably our highest chance. But even here, a lot of the guidance is kind of uncertain. How much rain is there going to be? Is it going to be scattered? Is it going to be a big shield of rain? So it's kind of hard to say how much we're going to see with this. So I'll go back to Saturday. We go into the evening hours. The one thing I will tell you, that evening time frame, you see 5, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, there's going to be rain somewhere in here. It's just a matter of where it sets up. And again, rain isn't necessarily the bad thing for these outdoor events. I know you don't want to get wet, but concerts are going to go on if it's raining. They will not go on if there's lightning. Lightning is the concern. That's why I say lightning, lightning, lightning. Just rain is not a big deal. Yeah, you need a poncho. It's not great maybe to sit in or stand in, but the concert's going to go on. If we get lightning, then it's a different story. Same story for the Fort Mill, Strawberry Festival. Rain, not a great thing there, but lightning and severe weather is a major concern for safety. So we go to about 9, 10 o'clock. Things are kind of waning a little bit here, and then the rain comes back. I do think Saturday night is going to be our wettest part of the weekend because by Sunday, there's a real good chance we could get what's called dry slotted. The actual upper low is here, the front is here, and dry air gets pushed in here. And that could really stabilize things for Sunday. So Sunday's looking up. If you had to ask me right now, the worst weather this weekend is going to happen Saturday evening. So plan accordingly. And as you're seeing in all this, it's not raining everywhere all day, right? I mean, today, no issues. Tonight, yeah, we have storms moving in. Saturday during the day, let's say I have a soccer game in the morning. My kids are playing at 11 a.m. Here's 11 a.m. There's some scattered storms around, but there's a lot of areas where nothing's happening. We go into the afternoon. My kids got a game at 4 o'clock. Yes, there's rain possibly somewhere around, but there's a lot of dry areas as well. I think we often focus on where the rain is, but notice there's a lot of areas where there isn't rain. And if your house needs water, you probably notice this more often than anybody. So just be wary of the overall picture. There's a lot going on across the entire region. But you could see at some point Saturday night, those chances ramp up. So we'll keep an eye on it. Stay weather aware Saturday for lightning. I have my radar up and running. We'll keep an eye on lightning threats for Uptown, for Kendrick Lamar, as well as Love and Life Music Festival. I will be posting on social media if there's lightning within 8 miles of the stadium or 6 miles of the festival. Those are the criteria we're using for the weekend. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and we'll have you covered.
And Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich will join us again at 4 for your live updates, the forecast for this weekend. And we forgot about the Strawberry Festival,
Totally
Carlene.
forgot. I feel bad.
It's
I
so
lived down there for a
fun.
few years. I just moved to Noda, and I was such a huge thing down there, and it was
Yeah.
great. God, the strawberries are so good.
Oh, the strawberries are
Fantastic.
amazing.
Fantastic.
All right, so if you have a chance,
A lot of great farms, a lot of great farmers down
and it's
there.
good energy.
Good to support local, buy
support local.
Yes.
So good. All right. Well, hopefully you have some, contingent plans this weekend. It might be just a good time to watch TV, maybe Kentucky Derby if you're not going to any of the outdoor events. Let's see, it is 10:38 right now, Friday morning. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Jennifer McCabe on the witness stand at the Karen Reed retrial out of Massachusetts. Let's go to that live here on Live Impact News.
Before that interview on May 10th with Lieutenant Tully, this is preceding your testimony last year.
Okay.
Had you ever reported that you went to Michael Lank's house, Sergeant Lank's house, on January 30th to anybody?
No, to be honest, I completely forgot about it.
You indicated that during that visit, you sat outside in a car, in Carrie's car, correct?
Yes.
Basically for the entire visit. Is that right?
Yes.
You indicated that you did not go in the house except to use the restroom possibly, correct?
I have a faint memory that I ran in to use the bathroom.
You indicated that you did not see Sergeant Lank at his home, correct?
I don't believe I did, no.
What time of night was this?
I don't know. We had left. We had been at Meadows for a while, and then we left, dropped Lexi off, and then I went home. I don't know a time. Maybe afternoon. I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Your Honor, I have a 10-page document that I'd like to have marked as identification with the court's permission.
Sure. Show Mr. Brennan on your way up.
Take your time. Mr. Brennan is just going to review that document. I have no problem with that. Thank you. Good? Okay. May I approach?
Yes. Thank you.
Do you recognize the document there?
So has it been marked yet?
I'm sorry. I asked that it be marked for identification at this point, just only for identification. Sorry.
So Madam Court Reporter will mark it and give it back to her.
Thank you.
Exhibit L for identification.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Once you get the document back, I'll ask you a couple of quick questions about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Gracie.
You have the document in front of you?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the first page of that document just to orient yourself. Do you see that that appears to be a map, generally?
All right. So I'm just going to ask you to take a look at the document and don't describe it.
Sure. Take a look at the first page and tell me if you recognize anything on that page.
I do, yes.
What do you recognize generally about that document?
Yeah. I'll see counsel at sidebar. May I have that, please, Ms. McLean?
Sure.
All right, ceiling fan time. So that means they are in a little bit of a recess, if not a sidebar. Oh, this volcano is something to look at, isn't it? Let's take a look at that here full. It is erupting, the 9th eruption we've learned, the Kilauea Park in Hawaii on the Big Island. And this eruption is the 19th since 2024, since the end of 2024. So very active scene there. It is the southeastern portion of the Big Island of Hawaii. Just a beautiful picture there.
I did learn that the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park apparently it's not a threat to the public. It's just contained to the
right
park.
There in the
so
park.
It's not a threat to the surrounding community.
Okay, that's good to know. And if it's the 19th eruption since December of 2024, I'd be a ways away from that part of Hawaii. But, that's how the Hawaiian Islands were formed way back when.
They're used to it.
Yeah.
They're used to it.
Yeah, exactly.
We get hurricanes a couple times a year. We're like, all right.
Are
they
we
get
used
eruptions.
to?
They're
right.
like, okay,
we know what to
cool.
do.
Yeah.
This volcano is between 210 and 280,000 years old.
Wow.
So it has woken up. And just a pretty picture as we take a look at that. Want to switch gears once again and take you out to the State Department. This is Foreign Affairs Day right now. Let's listen in live here on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
We're remembering him again. God bless Jacob. And third, Edward Wynant, a USAID Foreign Service engineering officer, age 54, who was survived by a wife and a young daughter. So at this time, we will lay a wreath at this memorial wall as a tribute to these fallen colleagues, but also to all of these fallen colleagues. By this act, we will honor the sacrifices and names on the wall and remember everyone who dedicated even a part of their lives to this important service to the American people. So thank you. With that, let's present the wreath. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deputy Secretary, for those remarks. We appreciate your attendance here today and your respect for our fallen colleagues. Let me express my heartfelt thanks to everyone who was able to join us here today, both in person and virtually. EFSA and I appreciate your taking the time to honor our colleagues and join us on this day. Thank you. This concludes today's ceremony.
All right, that ceremony just wrapped up at the State Department. Take you back out to Massachusetts, where the trial for Karen Reed is continuing. And this is Jennifer McCabe, who is on the witness stand, her day 3 of her testimony.
Location pinpointed on that page.
I do, yes.
What do you recognize that location as being?
John O'Keefe's home.
Is that what we've talked about on Meadows?
Yes, Meadows.
Do you see a time and date for that location?
Yes, 1/30/2022 at 12:19.
At 12:19 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If you could turn to page, 4, skip over page 3 and just go straight to page 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize something that's been pinpointed on that map as well?
Yes.
What is that? Again, don't give me the full address. What is that location that's pinpointed?
That is my house.
Okay. And do you see a date and time for that location?
Yes, that's 1:30 at 5:21.
When you say 1:30, January 30th?
Sorry, January 30th, 2022 at 5:21.
Okay. Looking at page 5, do you see a location
Yes.
pinpointed on that map as well?
Yes, I do.
And what's the date and time of that location?
That is also 1/30/2022, and that is at 5:28.
Got it. Taking a look at page 6, do you see a location pinpointed on that map?
Yes.
What is that, again, what is that location?
That is 1/30/2022.
The location, the address?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is Fairview.
Appear to be 34 Fairview?
Yes.
And what's the date and time?
5:36.
Taking a look at page 7, do you see anything located on that, a pinpoint location on that page?
Yes.
What's the date, I'm sorry, what is that location?
That's Fairview again.
And what's the date and time?
That is 1/30/22 at 5:40.
So just to be clear, the page before was 5:36, and this page is 5:40.
Yes.
Okay, take a look at page 8. Do you see what's pinpointed on that page?
Yes.
What is that location without giving me the address?
I believe that's Mike Lanks.
What's the date and time?
1/30/2022.
January 30th, 2022. And
Yes.
the time, please?
5:43.
You're familiar with Canton, obviously?
Yes.
Much more than we are. Is driving time from 34 Fairview to Michael Lank's house consistent with about 3-4 minutes?
It could be with, like, they have multiple stop signs.
Okay.
And due to the weather.
Right. Taking a look at page 9.
Yes.
Do you see another pinpointed address?
Yes, I believe it's the same one.
Okay. The same address on
As
Oakdale?
Mike Lank.
Okay. And what's the time? What's the date of that?
1/30/2022, and that is 6:28.
And 6:28 is about 45 minutes after 5:43, give or take, correct?
Yeah.
Finally, the last page, page 10. Do you see yet another pinpointed address?
I do, yes.
Is that your address?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what's the date and time of that pinpoint?
That is 1/30/22 as well, and that is at 6:34.
And would it be safe to say that your address from Mike Lank's address, maybe 6 or 7 minute drive?
Yeah, depending. Mm-hmm.
We were talking about what happened when you were at Mike Lank's that evening. By the way, does any of that refresh your recollection about the time that you went to Mike Lank's house?
Yes, I knew it was after Meadows and later in the day, yes.
So closer to 5:45, 6:30, correct?
Yes.
This is in January in Boston, is that right? The greater Boston area?
Yes.
Gets dark really early.
Yes.
It was a blizzard.
The night before, yes.
Safe to say that it was dark out.
Yeah, I
Safe
assume.
to say it was cold out.
Yes.
The blizzard was still brewing, correct?
I think it had stopped snowing by then.
Still freezing cold.
Believe so.
And your testimony is that you sat outside in a car with Carrie Roberts and Michael Lank's wife for 45 minutes.
Yes.
You actually, and I'm assuming the car was running?
Yes.
Heat had to be on full blast?
Yes.
You're dressed in winter gear?
Yes.
Because it's freezing out, correct?
Correct.
You actually got out of the car and went into the house to go to the restroom at one point.
I have a faint memory, I think I did, yes.
And the three of you didn't just decide, let's just go in the house?
No, we didn't.
You actually came out of the restroom, came out of the nice warm house, and fought the cold and got back in the car, according to you, correct?
Yes, I went back in the car because Carrie was going to bring me home.
You stated on direct examination that, and you've stated again today, that you stopped by Michael Lank's house, Sergeant Lank's house, directly from the O'Keefe residence as sort of a, my word, not yours, sort of a pit stop to drop off Carrie Roberts' daughter, correct?
Correct.
In point of fact, you actually drove from your personal residence to Michael Lank's house as a destination, didn't you?
I don't remember that. This is what this piece of paper says. I remember just leaving Meadows and dropping off Lexi.
In point of fact, it wasn't an errand, it wasn't to drop anybody off. It was a destination that you went to from your house to Sergeant Lank's house on January 30th, 2022, wasn't it?
No, we went to drop off Lexi.
Was Lexi at your house?
She was with us at Meadows, and then we went to drop her off.
Right. She was never with you at your house, was she?
I don't remember going to my house.
So if she wasn't with you at your house, there would be no reason to drop the child off from your house to Michael Lank's house, correct?
Lexi was in the car with us, and we dropped her off at Michael Lank's. That's why we went to Officer Lank's house, yes.
And in point of fact, you actually went from your house and did make a pit stop to 34th Fairview before you went to Michael Lank's house, didn't you?
We drove by and stopped, yes. Slowly stopped, yes.
And you went in the house and spoke with someone.
No, I never went in the house.
Why did you go by and just stop?
I think Carrie and I just went by to take a look at it. We were still trying to figure everything out.
Stayed there for 4 to 6 minutes?
I have to look at the report, but yeah, we were sitting in the car kind of just like, oh my God, looking.
Didn't go in the house?
We didn't go in the house, no.
Nobody came outside to talk to you?
No.
You didn't speak to Nicole?
I don't believe so.
Possible?
Like I said, Carrie and I just kind of drove by and were looking at the area.
And that's before you went to Michael Lank's house, correct?
That was on the way to Michael Lank's.
So in point of fact, you didn't go directly from One Meadows to Michael Lank's house.
I thought I had. I truly thought I had.
But now your memory is refreshed.
My memory is not. This isn't refreshing my memory. I do not remember going by my house before Michael Lank's.
Do you remember testifying a year ago that, well, let me ask it this way. Do you remember denying a year ago that you ever even stopped by 34 Fairview?
I don't remember that now.
Would it refresh your recollection to take a look at your prior testimony?
Sure.
Take a look at that page, the top highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. On May 21st of last year, you were asked about this very thing in a prior proceeding, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, you denied altogether ever going by 34 Fairview, correct?
No, I believe the paper says I never stopped by, but we drove by.
And now you're saying that you did stop.
Stopping by and driving by meant something different to me. Stopping by, I look at as then you pop in the house. Driving by is you just drive by. So we just drove by slowly and kind of looked at the scene.
And Ms. McCabe, I think you just said that you may have even spoken with Nicole.
I didn't speak with Nicole, no. We were in the car, Carrie and I, and Lexi.
You were denying that you ever spoke with Nicole or any other member of the Albert family or anybody at 34 Fairview as you sit here today.
As I sit here today, I'm telling you that we slowly drove by.
So again, last question on this point. You did not, you now admit, drive from One Meadows over to Michael Lank's house directly to drop off Carrie's daughter?
My memory is we did drive from One Meadows. I know what this piece of paper says. I'm telling you that just my memory is we left Meadows and went down Fairview and then went to Michael Lank's. But this paper is saying we stopped at my house first. I don't remember that. But again, I was in shock.
Sorry.
So a lot of things from that day are foggy. Certain things, certain details I may have forgotten.
And all of your testimony over the last several days is based on that memory that you just described to these jurors, correct?
There are certain things I'll never forget, correct?
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You may, depending upon your answer, depending upon what you just answered, you may or may not remember. But let's see.
Okay.
Isn't it true that at 12:13 p.m. you left 12 Country Lane on January 30th, 2022?
Yes, according to this, yes.
Isn't it true that at 12:19 you arrived at One Meadows, the O'Keefe residence?
According to this, yes.
Are you asking her regarding?
I'm asking her memory, not according to the document.
Oh, my
Your
memory.
Your
I don't
memory.
remember exact times.
Thank you. Isn't it